America, my name is Irami Osei-Frimpong. I'm coming to you from Athens, Georgia. And this is this week's edition of the Black Athenians. And we're going to talk about, is there an echo? No, we're going to talk about the Saulters settlement. And Taylor Saulters was a young man who hit another young man with his car. See, my man Timmy, we call him Woozy, in the neighborhood, was minding his business, and then he heard, "Don't even think about it." And Timmy did what a lot of young men do when they hear, "Don't even think about it."
Scattered.
He scattered.
Isn't that the training? I mean,
We do.
I grew up in D.C. If you hear "don't think about it,"
From behind you, he ran. And Timmy's a nimble young man in his mid-20s, and so he scattered. And I got this firsthand. Timmy told me he scattered, and so he scattered. And then the police officer got called, and Timmy's just running. He's not. I've seen the video from like different angles, and Timmy's just running. I can't get the video to you today, but if you just look at YouTube and put in, I don't know, Athens car Patmon, Patmon, with Saulters.
You can't say Athens cop hits person with car. Several may come up.
Yeah, several may come up. It's the one. All right, so you'll just see like the dash cam video. There was a cell phone video that got this all started, which I think is a little bit better, but there's a dash cam video or lapel cam for the beginning because there's no sound in the beginning because I think he's using the national word all the time. I think the sound kicks in later in. So there's a video.
Look at that video. I noticed that we suddenly can't hear.
We can't.
Gets out the car.
No.
You don't hear a siren.
But I was listening to the video today, and the first thing Timmy said is, "I need to go to the hospital."
Yeah.
I didn't notice that when I saw the video.
First thing he said. The first thing Saulters also was heard saying is, "I know what I did."
I know what I did. I did it. I did it. I couldn't catch him.
I couldn't wait for him to get tired. That would have taken too much energy.
So in the video, you see Timmy bolt, and Timmy's just running, right? And then Saulters tries to get him, and Timmy kind of moves out of the way. He's nimble. And he gives him one of these. And so Timmy goes the other way, and Saulters is like, "Well, I guess I can't cut him off. I'll just hit him." And Saulters just hits him. And Timmy goes down because he got hit by a car. And then Timmy goes down. Saulters gets out of his car, and the first thing you hear, Timmy says, "I need to go to the hospital." And I didn't hear the Saulters said, "I know what I did."
I know what I did.
I didn't hear that. But Timmy's getting manhandled. I know this because I spoke to Timmy either that night or the night before in jail. I kind of went over to jail and said, "What's up, Timmy?" First thing he tells me is my back hurts. I think there might have been, "Hey, what's up, man?" I was like, "How you doing?" "My back hurts." Yeah, that's what happens when you get hit by a car.
And there's some complications even about that.
Yeah.
That are going to be very interesting to talk about after we hit the beat.
Right. Oh, okay. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what legal care matters in the black community. Because Timmy, for his trouble, got a $15,000 settlement from the city, from the county. Because
they didn't even have to announce.
Right, they didn't have to announce it. It was a settlement, and we're going to talk about the kind of what went on behind that from the county, because you can't just run over random Negroes because they get inconvenient. But if you do, you might end up like Saulters, who got $250,000 for the trouble, for the ordeal. And what does that mean, black people? That you can run over someone and get paid, I want to say that 8? No. That's not 10 times. That's close to what, like 16 times more than the person you hit.
Yeah, and let's not talk about the money he also raised from the GoFundMe.
Right, yeah, and then he raised another $50,000 for a GoFundMe because, the mental anguish of hitting the random Negro. It's hard. It's hard. So he raised $50,000 from a GoFundMe, $250,000. But you're like, well, he had to quit his job. He also got a job. I want to say he hit Timmy on Thursday and was back to work in the next county on Monday?
Yes, he was back to work in Noblethorpe County on Monday.
Right.
Where he no longer works.
Right, we're not going to go into that. But yeah, so he hits Timmy in Athens, Clark County, gets fired. That happens on Thursday night.
Gets a hero's welcome.
I want to say it might have even happened on Friday because it was the first Friday because I did my
Saturday.
show. And it was right outside.
Yeah.
So, all right, so good. So he hits Timmy on Friday, gets fired on Saturday. He had a job by Tuesday, I think.
Monday.
All right, so he had
Got a hero's welcome in a new county on Monday.
yes, because that's what happens when your dad is a captain in the Athens-Clarke County Police Department. So he had a friend who was also a captain in the Oglethorpe County. So he got a job in the White Flat County next door. And what does that mean? When apparently later on he gets $250,000 for the trouble. Like I said, $250,000 for the trouble relative to Timmy, the guy who actually got hit, got $15,000 of shut up money. And I'm going to talk about what that means after we hit the beat. Go ahead, Matthew.
To the beat, y'all.
Yeah. Sound good to me. Never change the ways for the world or the government. If I was the president, then I would state facts. You leave it up to me, I paint the White House black and it can feature in your front.
And so Timmy gets hit. And the charge was he has a warrant. He has a warrant for having a lace joint. And like this lace joint is like what?
He was hit because he had a warrant for a probation
Violation.
violation. He hadn't paid $98.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So what starts as a lace joint turns into $98, which turns into a non payment, and then it ends up with like my back hurts. I just got hit by a car.
in 2 months in jail.
Yeah. So Timmy. So he sues. There's it's complicated because the lawyer who was recommended to him, a guy by the name of Sam Harris. I'm just gonna say names because it's all public. Sam Harris, is that his name?
Sam Thomas.
Sam Thomas. And I'll just say, if I were hit by a car, I would not go to Sam Thomas.
I will say that Sam Thomas has represented me when I needed a good old boy to represent me.
Right. Sam Thomas had entirely too many connections to the Athens-Clarke County Police Department to represent someone who is suing the Athens-Clarke County Police Department. Unfortunately, I think some unlucky, and Tim, you know who these are. I don't know who these are, but like some people recommended Thomas to you, and now go back and think through who those people were, and I think those people might not be the best people in your life for this, because I don't know. I talked to a commissioner after the Saulters settlement, and after Saulters got $250K, and I'd found out that Timmy got $15K. I talked to the commissioner about it, and the commissioner told me, and I said, okay, so I understand why you gave Saulters $250K. We're going to go into that later. But Timmy only got 15, and the commissioner said, well, he should have gotten a better lawyer.
Yeah.
That's the commissioner. Commissioner said he should have gotten a better lawyer. So Sam Thomas, like,
And to be clear about
maybe Sam Thomas is a good lawyer, but I'm not going to use him.
No,
And I'm not going to say that you shouldn't use him. I'm just saying that Sam Thomas got Timmy $15,000.
my review as a former client is I wouldn't use Sam again, even in the same situation.
I would not, even if I needed a good old boy. So like, I don't think he doesn't work for you. Like, he doesn't work for me. I know he's not going to work for me because I'll never use him. I will not use Sam Thomas. I'm not saying you shouldn't, because I'm just saying that Sam Thomas was Timmy's lawyer. Timmy got $15,000 for getting hit by a cop with like multiple cell phone videos, like seeing him get hit by a cop from behind.
And I
running
say
away.
It
with the
wasn't
cops.
even just recommendations.
Yeah.
Sam pursued that case.
Yeah, he pursued that
he
case.
fought to make sure he wasn't taken off of it.
Right. So, I'm just saying, when a commissioner says Timmy should have gotten a better lawyer, I'm just saying, I think people recommended Sam Thomas, and I'm saying maybe you shouldn't go to Sam Thomas if you have a problem in Athens.
And remember that $15,000 included the fees that had to be paid to the lawyer.
Yeah, and that's a third of it going to Sam Thomas. So Timmy gets his $15,000. The officer gets his $250,000. Because what turned out had happened was the officer gets fired the next day. The chief of police gets heat for firing him. But the reason why he's fired is still up in the air. Apparently, there are some text messages between the chief of police at the time, a guy named Freeman, and one of the local organizers in town. And Freeman's like, I don't know what I should do. I think I maybe should fire him. And the local organizer's like, you better fire him. And Freeman's like, okay, I'll fire him. Apparently, these are what the text messages say. And so Freeman did fire him. And then the person who kind of orchestrated it might have talked a little bit. And so the word got out that there were these text messages that exist. And then there was a report. And then Saulters comes back and talks about mental anguish. And he ends up suing for about $2 million. And we have a city with an attorney who loses cases. So the commissioner was like, all right, so we lose this case and pay $2 million to Saulters, or we just pay him off for $250,000. And so they chose to pay him off for $250,000. And the $2 million would have been for mental anguish and unfair termination.
And giving our city attorney,
Yeah. And the commissioner told me, and I think this is very important, the commissioner told me that, it would have brought all of this media attention, all this conservative media attention to the city. And so we didn't really want that. And when I say, she said, we didn't want that, make no mistake. I want that. Like, let's talk about this. Like, all right, if Rush Limbaugh's coming to town, like, you can't do justice work and run away from the media. I'll say that again. Black people, you're going to be tried, and this is going to be a theme in the second half of the show. They're going to try to get us to be too scared to go to the media.
That's where you start.
That's where you start. I got no shame. No, if you're doing something, you got to do this in the light. This is what we learned from Emmett Till, right? So, like, the Emmett Till was killed by a bunch of good old boys, and his mom was clear that we need an open casket with pictures. Everybody knows what they did to my baby. So that's the kind of attitude we need in our life. There's nothing we've done that's so dirty. Cardi B's out there talking about how she drugged guys and robbed them. So, and she's still selling records. That's fine. There's nothing that you've done, black people, that's so dirty that you have to worry about someone going into your past. So if something happens to you, go ahead, dig into me. Like, you didn't do anything that's because, like, we're going against white collar criminals. Like, you did stuff because you were black, and they're kind of like everyone's got a checkered past, because we're putting in uncomfortable situations. So you can't be scared of them judging that up. You cannot be scared of them judging that up, because that's what they try to do with me. Anyway, Timmy gets $15,000. Saulters gets $250K. And I need black people to go into settlement negotiations like they're a white guy. And that's what this is about. We need to settle this. When you get hit by a cop, my dad was, he passed on last year, but he was a slip and fall paralegal. So, like, I kind of grew up, like, around, him talking about slip and falls. And so, like, when you get hit, you need to go into this with a white guy. And in a good old boy town like Athens, maybe you need to find a lawyer who didn't go to school here. Maybe you need to find someone like from Atlanta, or who went to Emory Law School, because you're going to need someone who's not afraid to burn bridges. And that was not Sam Thomas.
Oh, no, Sam did exactly what Sam intended to do.
Yes.
He did the job he was there to do.
Right, and the police department is very grateful for Sam's job, for the job Sam did for the police department. Yes. Even as he was Timmy's lawyer. All right, so we left a lot of money on the table, and then Timmy's life's not that great, so it's really it's a deal. But we need to go about this suing people like a white guy. First of all, give me let's talk about media control. Give me the picture of Timmy that's in the red and black, about, like, when he first filed the suit.
This one? Or?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's a picture of Timmy when he first filed. That's Timmy when he first filed the suit. Notice the headline. Do you see the headline there, or did I cut it off? Former inmate pursues civil liability lawsuit against county. That's that has nothing to do with any, like, he's also a former Cedar Shoals graduate. He's also a former McDonald's, he's a McDonald's worker.
I'd like to point out, his name is also Timmy Patmon.
Timmy Patmon, like, it's got nothing to do with what he might have done or what he got caught with. It's got nothing to do with that. I'm suing for getting hit. Don't bring up something else. I'm suing for getting hit.
And I noticed that they used his jail picture. I was in the red and black recently. They sent a photographer out to get a good picture.
That's exactly right. Like I was in the Red and Black recently. Also, they said I got someone. They could have taken a picture of him. That's not his mugshot. So when he in suing someone for hitting you, the fact that you used to be in jail for something else, like, is irrelevant. You know, I'd rather them actually have a shot of him like after he just got hit, on the ground. All right. And we have now when the cop got a settlement, what I think I have a picture of that. Yeah. So good. So this is the picture of Athens pays $250K settlement to officer fired after hitting suspect with a patrol car. That's him in uniform. They call him an officer.
Officer cleared.
Officer cleared. But like he wasn't an officer, and probably now he's going into property management. Because that's what you do.
Because he's going to be owning enough.
Because that's what you do when you get that much cash. You buy property and then you rent exploitative rates. So
he'll fit right in locally.
No, they didn't get a picture of him like, you know, drunk on like.
As a matter of fact, you can tell that's not even a past picture. His pins are from the new job. I just spotted.
Yeah. So this is just about media and controlling the narrative. That's just where we are. I'm telling you this so that you just know where we are and where we need to go. Second, we need to start thinking in terms of white guy numbers, right? So like the guys from Covington High School is a school, I want to say it's in Kentucky, Tennessee.
Oh, the private
school. Covington. Tennessee?
I think it's Kentucky.
It's a drive over somewhere, a few hours drive from D.C. They go to D.C. This kid gets a picture taken of him while he's standing down a Native American protester. And now he's suing. That's the picture. He's suing. And now he's suing. Give me the other. Yeah, there you go. This kid, he's got 2 lawsuits going that we know of. This kid for CNN showing that picture of him kind of being a douche is suing CNN for $275 million. $275 million. That is a lot of money. Oh, that's a nice job, Matthew. All right, so that's a nice job. Now below that, put the other lawsuit. There's another one. I think it's untitled one of the other. There you go. There's another lawsuit because CNN wasn't the only news. And the Washington Post for another $250 million. See, those are white people numbers. They're like for mental anguish and for like, well, in this picture, it makes me look like I'm not the best guy.
And nothing to do with my behavior.
Just how that picture looked. Yeah, so like it made me look like a bad guy. Might hurt my job prospects. I could have been the next Warren Buffett.
Or Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah. So nah, he could still be next Brett Kavanaugh.
That's true.
Nah, he gets
that did not hurt it.
No.
His odds just went up.
No, yeah, that pays. He's applying to Yale full freight. He'll write a check. He'll no, that's fine. No, he's doing fine. So we just have to start thinking in terms of these numbers, especially with big institutions and big institutions that are scared of being shamed. Because remember, they settled with Saulters because one, they didn't want to be shamed by conservative media. And two, they had a lawyer who loses cases. So
who still has a job?
The city has a lawyer, so that's how you get. So like we can't. This is why it's important to like not be shamed out of suing. But we have institutional problems. Like for example, Timmy doesn't have a lot of money. He needed cash. He needed it soon. So he took the $15,000. It's the same reason people, take plea bargains. He didn't have a lot of money. He took the $15,000. If he had like white guy stability, first of all, remember Saulters had a GoFundMe campaign after he hit Timmy that for $50K and a job. In 2 days, $50K and a job in a police department next door. Like Timmy just has like a bunch of broke relatives. So like that institution buys you a little bit of time to get the right kind of lawyer who will actually come up with a strategy to get you paid what you think you deserve, right? So we got to think about what that means if you're black and something happens to you. If you're black, honestly, if you're black in Athens and something happens to you at the hospital or at the university, you can't go to a lawyer in town, really. because they want to do business with the hospital and the university. So you need the kind of contacts that will give you a lawyer who's out of town. You need a bulldog who's willing to jeopardize, well, it doesn't have to jeopardize it because they're out of town. And so that's the tale of two settlements. The wealth gap, like, isn't just about income disparities. It's wealth. Like, Taylor now has generational wealth because it's going to grow at, 8, 9%. He's 26. Taylor Saulters is 26. So it's going to grow at 8, 9%. That $250,000, he'll invest in some properties, whatever, for the quarter of his life. Like, his kids are going to, like, that money is going to pay for his daughter's wedding. Like, the interest from it. Patmon's surrounded by a bunch of broke people. I'd be surprised if he still has any of that 15 grand, just because, like, after you pay off everything you need to pay off and then live and then people find out you got money, so you got a target on your back. If you can find the lotto picture, that would be good. So it's an unfortunate situation. And then think about the family situation also. Taylor Saulters, the police officer, his dad is a captain in the police department. His mom works in the DA's office. So they know exactly how much to squeeze the county for and how to use the right words to squeeze them. Timmy, his dad died when he was like in his mid-40s, when Timmy was like 16 or something like that. So his dad's dead just because of the stress of black life, and his mom's, not doing so well. So, like, just what it means about stability and how that comes out in the quality of advice you get.
Well, I was thinking about this. Saulters will now be owning property.
Yes.
Timmy didn't get enough money to buy a new car.
Yes.
Like that's
both those are true.
So look at that. Like,
both of those are true.
Yes.
He got paid less than the car that hit him is worth. That is,
to be perfectly honest, thinking about the repair costs to the car were probably higher.
Because once you hit someone with a car, they got to decommission it or something.
Yeah, like he messed up a rim and an axle during this whole process. So the repair costs on the car were more than what.
We have a legal care gap. Which I'll do a whole nother show about. But I just wanted to understand what happened. You hit a black guy, you get $250,000 for mental anguish. You get hit, you get $15,000 because you're just a black guy anyway. We're a disposable population, and that's what it is. And I say we're a disposable population. Good, I got enough time. So the University of Georgia is trying to dispose of me. Me. I know. Would you believe me? They don't like what I say. They think I call white people white because I do. Look, I didn't make white people. The cotton economy, the FHA, and the Klan did. I just call them white. and I think you do, because give me the wealth. The wealth. You have to call white people white because their fates are not the same as black people. We have a different fate. There's no shared fate. And this is the wealth number where white people are worth about $116,000 and kind of arcing up. And black people are worth $1,700 and arcing down. So it's not just that the numbers are far apart from each other. It's that they're going in different directions. And if they're going in different directions, by just about any definition, they're not the same thing. If you're going in different directions by the same policy, it's not the same thing. So then you have to ask questions. Well, are they going in different directions because they're going in the opposite, because of policy? Is it a predatory relationship where one person's getting fat off the other person? Like Taylor Saulters is getting fat off of the police state. And I don't know. When you get a bad back when you're 24, that doesn't improve. Like when you're 50, he's gonna be feeling that being hit by a car. Timmy's gonna be feeling that getting hit by a car in 20 years because that doesn't go away. That just gets worse.
Hit by a car, and then the jail chose to change the medical instructions from the hospital.
Yeah, they didn't want to give him any painkillers. And I remember when Timmy's telling me this story, and he's in jail, and I'm speaking to him through the jail Skype thing, and he was like, "Yeah," and they got me on a top bunk.
Yeah. Yeah. And apparently, during the investigation, the GBI liked to question at all hours of the night.
Yeah, they woke him up to question him and just to get him to say something that like, oh, I did something. No. So Patmon is just not doing as well. And $15,000 when you're like surrounded by that kind of destitution. I mean, I'd be surprised if there's any left. But I suspect there's a lot left of the $250K.
I'm sure he's already started investing.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure he had his financial manager ready for
his
that.
His dad's accountant. I just use my dad's accountant. So, all right. So the university's trying to get rid of me, and I know this because they said they're trying to get rid of me. Now, this is funny. I'm going to give you a little bit of a. First, give me the EOO statement. Put it on. So I say provocative things on my tweets and my social media presence. It got some guy very exercised about me, and this guy named Andrew Lawrence. He made a complaint to the Office of Equal Opportunity Office, and they wrote back to him with this letter saying pretty much, I don't know, thank you for contacting the Equal Opportunity Office. I've reviewed the information you submitted to us. My review finds that the views expressed are personal opinion expressed by this person in their capacity on a private forum. He was mad about things I said on my Twitter. If you have any information that this person initiated a discriminatory or harassing comment in their capacity as a member of the UGA committee, please forward that information to our attention. Blah, 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 blah. So I do what I do. I do what I do here. And then I gave a talk last fall at the UGA Dems. And I did what I did there. I talk about, so we got to talk about race and we got to talk about freedom and we got to talk about it a certain way. And he had a video of that talk where he can't actually hear me, but then he has a video of himself like haranguing me. And he sent that to all of his conservative buddies. And so he sent that to EOO office. EOO office says like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then Lawrence comes up with a campaign to the donors because it turns out Lawrence worked on Brian Kemp's campaign. Brian Kemp is the current governor of Georgia. And so he's got access to like lots of emails and stuff. So Lawrence says this racist, talking about me, university employee is doing harmful things on campus, and you need to make sure he gets fired. And so Lawrence sends this message to all the donors, like that I suspect he got from Kemp's list. I don't know, but like enough. And then on Saturday, January 19th, Lawrence posts, an unnamed UGA donor said today that they would withhold their $2.5 million annual donation until the racist instructor is fired. So glad that my fellow alumni are supporting this. Well, that happened on January 19th, Saturday. Would you believe that the university, now give me the tweet under it, like under my chin. Yeah. All right, so good. Would you believe the university on Sunday, someone worked on Sunday, and I suspect that there's a lot of phone conversations that I'll never know, but they might have used the N-word. We will never know, but $2.5 million gets pulled on Saturday, and on a Sunday, the university comes out with a tweet on the official university account. The university has been vigorously exploring all legal options. Racism has no place on our campus, and we condemn the advocacy or suggestion of violence in any form. We are seeking guidance from the Office of the Attorney General as to what we can legally consider in accordance with the First Amendment. So they're saying, donors, calm down, because that's not the only donor. There's another donor. I know that there's a few other donors who actually admitted to like pulling until I'm fired. That's just one unnamed one with a lot of money. So at least if I ever know if I'm out in slave block, how much I'm worth. I know my price. Apparently $2.5 million annually. 2.5 million annually. So Lawrence announces on Saturday, university on Sunday. They don't tweet on Sunday, people.
I was sitting here literally thinking, who works on Sunday?
No, I think there's a lot of people working on that Sunday. I want to know how high this went, and like,
and how vigorously are you talking to the state, to the attorney?
I want to know all the staff hours that went into this. All of the staff hours that went into this. So I'm calling white people white and doing what I do. And Sunday that goes on. On Tuesday, they take someone from the philosophy department. I'm in the philosophy department. They take her off her job and make her print up all of my course evaluations from that semester. Hilarious. I'm going to put my course evaluations in the comment section after this video. I'm very good at my job. So even I didn't know. Once I found out it was happening, I was like, well, okay, so about a third of them are going to be like, he made me feel uncomfortable or whatever. I'm gonna put my course evaluations in the comments after the job, and you decide. So it turns out I'm very good at this thing I do. And I just teach. 2/3 of my students, a lot of my students are white, and most of them are women. And I teach philosophy, and I do it better than you'll see when you see my evaluations. And I'll put them in. I'll put them in the comments. So they go after my course eval. They take someone off her job. She's typing them up saying, these are really good. I'm ticked that I'm not doing what I should be doing, but I don't mind because I thought they'd be worse. So the university declares open war on me. They go after my eval. Turns out I'm fine. Then they have someone in the graduate school. They audit everything I did, in terms of my application. They find out that there's a box on the application that says if you've ever been arrested, except for minor traffic arrests. Please tell us why. And I checked, no, I haven't been arrested because the only one I disclose is the only way this could be relevant is I was arrested for Occupy. But I don't tell anybody. I mean, I don't hide that from anybody. I got pictures from me of Occupy. I was in Occupy. I got arrested for that. But it was something that was thrown out. It was as minor as you could be. It was a municipal court. It was a municipal code violation that was thrown out by the judge for being unconstitutional. So one, I shouldn't have been arrested. And two, if you can Google that I was arrested, you can Google that it was thrown out, as being unconstitutional. So it was just I wasn't convicted or anything. It was thrown out, and they shouldn't have arrested us. They should have given us a citation, but even that would have been unconstitutional. Anyway, it was an abuse of Chicago law from the Mayor Emanuel, and
which is impressive in and of itself when that happens.
Yeah,
Chicago being held accountable.
Chicago's been held accountable. They're like, you can't just arrest people because you find them obnoxious in a public park. And there's a municipal code violation, in theory, that was just a constitutional protest. And so I in my application, when I did it, I did a stack of applications at the same time. That was at least as big of as small of a deal as a minor traffic arrest. Since I barely drive. Are they saying that if I had a DUI, it would be less of a big deal than what's a minor traffic arrest? What do you get arrested for in traffic? That's less than that. That's less than a political protest. So it said you don't have to list anything if it was a minor traffic arrest. It was as minor as you can get, so I just didn't list it because, like I said, I was doing a lot of them. And so they're trying to get me for that. And then they're also trying to get me I was at the University of Chicago for a while in the political science department, but I was applying to the University of Georgia's philosophy department. I have 2 other degrees in philosophy. So I just put my other degrees in philosophy and not my time at the University of Chicago. So now they're saying I lied about my application. And then they charged me for this. They charged me for this without asking me, hey, do you have a transcript from the University of Chicago? And without asking anyone from the department, the philosophy department, that hey, and I don't, everybody who knows me knows that, yeah, I spent some time at the University of Chicago. It's just kind of, I never hid any of this. And when they asked me for it, at the informal hearing, I gave it to them immediately because it's not that big of a deal. I released my transcript. I gave them the notice that said that the trespassing charge was a political protest that was dismissed. And I immediately told the department. The university grad school had not told the philosophy department because they didn't want the philosophy department to tell them that he's kind of awesome. So the graduate administration does all this without talking to the actual philosophy department where I live and eat. And the philosophy department committee that actually admitted me is like shocked that all of this happened without talking to them. So the university senate like ticked because it's a huge administrative overreach that like a donor can now decide what grad student is in their department, which one gets taken out. And also, if they can decide which one gets taken out, can the donor also decide which one gets in? Like, I don't know. They didn't ask any of the faculty members. So the faculty's heated. They send a letter saying like, look, yeah, all right, so we saw his transcript from the University of Chicago. We didn't know he also knew Greek. Yeah. Like I don't
Greek?
Yeah, I can read Greek and German. And so like so they're like, yeah, he's like this actually I don't what are you doing? So so the university, they said themselves that they were going to try to go after me. And this happened Thursday after that. I got my like the emails back and forth that I have a little bit of access to. I don't know all of the details, but I was charged on Thursday after that tweet came out on Sunday for an admissions for an application I had released like 2 years before, 2.5 years before, because I'm in my third year now. So that's what happens. And so this group Fire, I'll put that letter in the comments also. This group Fire from DC, like, so I was kind of paying attention to this case and was just like, no, you can't use free speech violation as pretext to like go and like and go for a witch hunt. And so Fire wrote this letter and it's great. I'll put the letter in the comments. And so they're pretty much harassing me. This is harassment. They said, and they announced that they were going to harass me. Now, I think they've been dealing with other kind of Negroes. And this is where like other people be like, oh, well, I'll be too embarrassed to go to, I'll just be quiet. No. They declared war on me and said, since we can't get them on free speech, we're going to try to get them on anything. Do you know what a chilling effect this has on academia? And understand that I do black studies in a way that black studies should be done. That means I study white people, because black people didn't make black people black. In Africa, like, we were Ashanti. We didn't become black until we became here. So if you're going to study black people, you got to study white people making black people black. And then white people in Europe they were only white when they were colonial. In Ireland, they were Irish and Scottish. They didn't become white till they became here. And that was, in distinction from black people who they treat like garbage, right? So in order to actually do African-American studies, you need to study white institutions. And people don't like that, except for like the people who actually are serious about this job, like Bobby Wright, Dr. Bobby Wright. Dr. Bobby Wright's very clear on this, that like you can't do African-American studies or study African-American psychology by studying black people. It's like studying the victim as opposed to the oppressor. You have to study the oppressor that makes the victim. It's like a lung cancer doctor, like studying the lung cancer patient and not paying attention to like the fact that the lung cancer patient lives next to like a factory that's just like billowing smoke. So you need to, so if you're going to study black people, you got to study white people, because without white people, there aren't black people in these United States as black. So I study white institutions like black people should study white institutions. That makes white people nervous, because I think the problem is their churches, and I think the problem is their family structure, and I think their problem is their culture and their schools. And I think I'm right about this, which is, and there's a long history of white people studying black people like this. The Moynihan Report, when he said that the problem is their families, and then there are other scholars who say the problem is their churches, and then the problem is their culture. So like I study white institutions the way white institutions like study and degrade black life, except I do it better and more perspicaciously, because when white people study themselves, they leave out things. They leave out details. So you need me curating a museum of white terrorism. And I think I would do an excellent job at that. Because sometimes when they tell stories about themselves to themselves, they leave out details. So the university declares a fatwa on me, and it does so officially. let me do this right. Hold on. Okay, so good. All right, so the university declares a fatwa on me, and they do so officially from their official account. And I take screenshots now because I got receipts. And they say like, all right, so we're not going to get this Negro through the First Amendment, but we'll look for something else. And we're going to, this is my university declaring war on me, a student, without talking to any of my professors because a donor pulled $2.5 million. And this all happened on a weekend. Right? And I will tell you something. I don't know. I've never actually hit a black guy with my car, but I do know that the emotional distress of having an entire university come after you, declare war on you in a university town is quite trying. And it also, because I'm right now writing papers on other things. I've been pulled into multiple meetings. The dean lied to me about something that's going to come out later. So they're just like, people are telling me stories, all sorts of stories, and then they find out they're not true. And like it's very emotional distress. I have to kind of teach the university how to govern itself. And there are
I wouldn't use that term because you're a much better teacher than they are.
Yes. Well, the thing is, the people who are in charge of this work are called administrators, and they get paid very well at the university. So I shouldn't have to teach the university how to administer itself. So I should get paid as both a lecturer. I'm a lecturer to administrators. So I shouldn't have to, and those all get paid, and I'm tired. I decided this in undergrad when I found myself being a vocal student, always in a room with a bunch of people, a bunch of white administrators, like, giving my piece and being part of the process. And everyone else in the room was getting paid, but I was expected to do it voluntarily. I'm done with that. Like, we see Negroes working for free on the football field, and now they're supposed to be working for free in the political justice. No. So I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. And this all goes to show that, like, one, the perks of doing everything you do publicly, unless you're doing dirty, which the university did, and they did that publicly. And just thinking that they are really used. They're used to dealing with someone who's not me. Like they're used to dealing with a scared Negro. And now,
I mean, it was really nice of them to make that public announcement.
This public announcement's hilarious because not only does it say like we're going to war on a student and we're going to do it by any means necessary within the law, but like we're going after him. Two, they said just things that aren't true. And as a teacher, I think like this is just confusing. Racism has no place on our campus. That's just false because for like myriad reasons. Like
Rutherford Hall.
Rutherford Hall. So the University of Georgia, you have to understand the white supremacy works through institutions, and like if it can do it, it can legitimize itself without having to be violent, right? So the university for like 150 years was an institution of legitimized racism. So like we have law professors with portraits who like made the name for themselves by testifying that blacks were inferior. We have social scientists with buildings named after themselves, like who made a name for themselves by finding social science that said that blacks were inferior. We have an entire hall, and this Mildred Rutherford's special. Because like she actually decided that white supremacy is a dual gender affair. So we need to create better women white supremacists. So she created an entire school for white supremacy for women. And she has a hall named after her. So there's literally a place. And then and a town.
And a street.
And a street in this town. So because like that's a very important contribution she made to the South. And so she was honored by this university for that. So there's literally places for racism on campus. Now, some of the guys I mentioned also did other things. Like the presidents had slaves and all that stuff. They also did other things. Someone like Rutherford, this is the only reason we know her name. She was just that good at this part of white supremacy that we just had to name a building after her. Like she was that. Like Mildred Rutherford's awful. Yes, and
every time it's funny because when you first start talking to her, I'm like, I'll look.
I'll look her up. She can't be that bad.
Every time
she's worse.
You just find more stuff about her. Worse. You're like, this is not a human being.
No, she's dedicated her whole life. She barely slept. Like some people have hobbies. No, like hers was keeping Negroes down.
Yeah. With her foot on the
With a
throat.
foot on it. And teaching other people, this is how you do it. Put the heel.
She was a living example of what it looks like to have a boot on
On
your
your
throat.
neck. And this is how we
Hers
do
is
it.
just a heel.
Yeah, so, and yes, this is how ladies do it. Because ladies are screwing up white supremacy. I'm going to teach you how to do white supremacy better. So,
I wonder if you're allowed to smoke as a lady while you're oppressing people. I know you can't.
That's the kind of etiquette that Mildred Rutherford taught. So, how to extinguish the cigarette in the nigger's eye. Like that's what Mildred Rutherford taught. So she's horrible. So there's literally a place for because we named a building after her for white supremacy on campus. Also, violence in any form. Violence in any form. So I want to read this. Racism has no place on our campus. False. We condemn the advocacy or suggestions of violence in any form.
Till football season.
We have a football season. We have ROTC on campus. If I go into the administrative building, you know what the first thing I see is guards. So the question is legitimate violence or illegitimate violence? We got to figure out. We have martial arts classes. But we have an ROTC. So that's just a confusing statement by a confused people.
And I did verify, by the way.
Yes.
Campus carry passed.
Campus carry passed. So I'm like the least violent person in my own classroom because I don't carry. I don't like guns. And, so in my own classroom, I'm the least the form of violence because I know that there was an article last year about some lady who left her gun at the bus stop.
At the bus stop, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she still has the right to carry a gun.
Yeah. So violence in any. So you released that tweet from your university account, all to gin up anger at me. And I'm a pretty good reader of texts. And I think I'm actually a better reader of texts than the parade of people who wrote that text because. Yeah. So now I have to deal with, and so not only does this chill my own scholarship, it chills the reception of my scholarship. So now other administrators and other people have come up to me and say yeah, I wanted to do this really good program on race, but I can only do it if it's about black people, because if it's about white people, it makes them nervous. And so I kind of tamed it down, and I kind of turned down the terrorism aspect of white people and as they made themselves white in the United States, because they made themselves white through terrorism. Like I said, when they were in Europe, they were Irish. When they were in Germany, they were, Protestant or whatever. So that happened. They declared war on me. And I'm still kind of shopping around some people I might use. The ACLU has been very good for me. I'm still kind of shopping around for a lawyer. I want someone who's out of town. But yeah, there will be a civil suit. And I'm supposed to go through a formal hearing about the charges that they fastidiously found. It was supposed to be happening in 3 days or 5 days or something like that. This is 6 weeks ago. So they're keeping me on the hook.
Wasn't there a story about that recently, about how it's just being drugged?
It's just drawn out. This is 6 weeks ago. Because I think they're scared. I think they're scared that if it's a formal hearing, because I waived, they tried to say, look, we can do it privately, do the formal hearing privately. I was like, nope. No. I think they're scared that this formal hearing is going to turn into a press event and it'll put the university on trial. I think they're worried about that because when the formal hearing happens, it's going to be a press event that puts the university on trial because they can't shut me up. And the only reason that Yeah.
Watch this show, do they?
They don't. Well, I suspect someone's watching this show.
They should be.
And you think I'm coming after you? No, I'm just trying to make the situation whole. I'm trying to help you do your job better, and that might entail some money being transferred to me.
Sometimes you have to teach institutions lessons.
I need to teach institutions lessons. So I might need enough money to fund my own institution that helps their institution be a better institution. We can talk about the details later, but but to make the situation whole, because not only has it screwed up my and by the way, suing a university.
I want that in the agreement.
What's in the agreement?
The other part of the agreement needs to be that Mildred Rutherford Hall becomes Irami Osei-Frimpong.
No. I can find someone better than me. But I do want to say something about the way we teach what we do at the university. And I have pretty sophisticated ideas about this, because the whole situation is to make this whole. I just want to make UGA whole, and by that, as an extension of Georgia. I want to make Georgia whole. And that might mean like moving some money over for me to do what I do. Because like I said, not only has it poisoned my scholarship, it's poisoned the reception of my scholarship. And other people who would do similar scholarship, they don't want a fatwa against them. So I'm going to take this one on the chin and fight the university in public as I'm doing right now. And we could talk about how much it settles, but like, let me put the Covington kids up. Know this, you might have to take out a bond.
They get all that extra money from not paying property tax.
What you get a lot of money from racists. I'm just gonna take some of that money back. So the Covington kids, they get yeah. So no, but put the settlement amount. Yeah. So over his face. So like just know that if the Covington teenager is suing for $275 million. I had a very promising career by a lot of accounts before I started calling white people white. And that's just shouldn't screw up someone's career as a black academic, because you need more black academics doing harder scholarship. You need a fleet of me. So there's going to be enough money that transfers through me to allow me to make a fleet of me for the good of the whole. Because if you'd taken a class by me, I can tell you right now, none of my students would ever write a tweet as malformed as you need my help. I'm going to help you be a better university. None of that would not do very well in my class for reasons. Every single clause has a problem.
I'm just curious how they got that by HR.
They got that. No, they're gonna say, well, marketing done it. No, that went through lawyers and that went through a lot of different people. All of those people who made more money than I did through my entire 20s. They make more money in a year. So,
having worked in marketing, you don't get stuff out without HR going, that's not going to be.
No, they're talking about going to the working with the attorney's office. Yeah. I want to know how hard it gets up. And honestly, Moorhead gets paid a lot of money to stop something like that. Where does the buck stop? Don't give me a marketing guy. I want Moorhead. I want to know how much he gets paid to stop something like that and kind of actually teach people how to govern the university. And then I want some of that money transferred to an institution where I could help him because he's not very good at his job. That's got to stop somewhere.
It makes like $800,000.
I think it's more than 800. I think
it's like 810.
Really? Oh, okay. That's actually that's low base. That's low base. I want football coach money. I want football coach money. But not. I need a football coach. Let's be honest. I need football coach money from a Division II team that needs enough money to be in the top 25 in the Division I, because I need to rebuild. So I need football. I need institution size money. Because it's not like I need football coach money from a top team that needs to stay there. I need football coach money from a team that needs to build an entire program from nothing. I need Yankees money. I need the Yankees money when they decide that they finally want to be good. They just buy players. Because I'm going to bring in some free agents.
So 7-8 seasons of football money.
So put that. So that's the kind of money that I'm asking for. You've declared war on me, university. You've taken out bonds to build buildings. You might have to take out a bond to make this situation whole. But the good news is it'll be good for everybody. But yeah. So by the way, like I said, if you know a civil suit lawyer who wants a third of this, because that's how much I'll pay. I got some guys who are interested, but I'm still looking for the right people. Go ahead and send me an email. You can send me an email. First of all, if you support anything I do, and I think I do a lot, go ahead and go to thefunkyacademic.com and go ahead and sign up for a donation, $5, $15, or $50 a month. Because until the settlement money comes in, I still got to pay Lights. I got to pay Matthew. I got an executive producer. I want my people to get paid. So these things cost money, and thank you. Go ahead, go to thefunkyacademic.com, sign up, $5, $15, or $50 a month. I do this show every Friday, and I catch some heck for doing it, but I need to give the people what they want. And not just what they want, what they need, because my goal here is to not just be an activist or whatever. I want to be an organizer, which means I teach you how to govern. Right now, I'm teaching you how to ask for a settlement, because I do not want any other guy going for that $15,000. And I want us to be able to talk about what it means that Saulters gets paid.
I want $15,000 in interest off of the money I got from the settlement.
Yes, that's how so my number is going to be, it's going to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars, because that's just how much things cost. Because I not only need to do my scholarship, I need to do it in a way so that the people receiving it are not going to be punished for receiving it. So there's going to be a lot of zeros in this case. So that's where I'm at. And I can do it because, like I said, before I put the EOO statement, I want to be very clear about the timeline. Before any of this gets started, the Equal Opportunity Office says I'm fine. Then Saturday the 19th, Equal Opportunities Office says he's actually just speaking. And I have, anyway. So Equal Opportunity Office says I'm fine. Andrew Lawrence sends out a donor letter, and I have screenshots of this. It sends out a letter to all the donors all the time, where he just brags about how he's going to pressure the university by going after the donors. He does that on the 19th. On the 20th, he does that on Saturday 19th. On the 20th, Sunday, university tweets out, "Donors, calm down. We're going to get them. We're going to try to find a way to go around his First Amendment rights." And I keep the Dred Scott in my mind. Dred Scott, the verdict in Dred Scott was that Tanity wrote that black people do not have any rights that white people are bound to respect. I'm keeping all my rights, and I'm going to exercise them all, and I'm going to help other people do that. I'm going to have my own little Know Your Rights little campaign going on here, and it's going to be funded by the University of Georgia, even though they don't know that yet, but it's okay. So that's going to happen, and because they declared war on me, and then I've been screwing up my life with this investigation, because the process itself, I've given, I think, 3 interviews, 2 to the Office of Student Conduct and 1 to the dean, and they just keep wanting me to say the same story again. They wanted me to come over during spring break, and I've also given a written statement where I say the same thing, so the process itself is a form of harassment. Because I'm working on other things. I got a dissertation to write. So you have to take that seriously. You have to take that seriously in terms of what the damages are and what that means. And I want to do this once so that nobody else has to. Because what gets me is the people who come up to me and say, yeah, I wanted to do this other program, but I got heat from the administration, so I didn't do it. So I kind of tamped it down and I made it vanilla. That's never going to happen again because of this suit. And if that's going to be my legacy, then let that be the legacy. And so we're suing them. It's going to be for a few $100 million. It's going to be big enough to build an institute, because honestly, when you sue a university or even talk about suing a university, you pretty much make yourself unemployable. So that's what this is about, and that's what's happening. And there's money out there, and it should be put towards making black communities whole. That's what I'm doing. What's chat think? Hashtag Irami report on white people.
Like the morning report.
Oh, on the white family. What's the Moynihan report called? The Negro family and its pathology. Matthew. Yeah.
So I want to point out while we got a quick second here. If you're in Athens, there is a free showing of Below Baldwin this Sunday. You'll learn a little bit about the university's history and its current behavior when it comes to racial justice.
It puts everything under. Look, the difference between being in a shallow grave and being free is your fear of publicity, right? So the university did offer me a plea bargain deal. They said, we'll make this all go away. All you have to do is be on permanent probation. Permanent probation for your entire academic career. To which I said, I want to keep all my rights. And they wanted me to waive all these things. No, I want to keep all my rights. And I'm going to keep talking about white people as if they're white people, because, like I said, I didn't make white people white people. The FHA, the Cotton Economy, and the Klan did. So, if you're saying that, we're post-race now, I don't know what to tell you. We're still trying to make up. The lines are going in opposite directions. Remember that. The lines are going in opposite directions. So we're not the same people. What is the Moynihan report called?
The Negro family and the case for national action.
Good. There you go. That's all. Yeah, the white family and the case for national action. I could write the hell out of that report. It would be fantastic.
I think you should.
And true.
I think you should.
That's my
just start
dissertation.
on that.
Let's start with that. The white family and the case for national action. Hey, look, it starts at home. It's a deformed culture, and I look. So, people think I'm joking. Give me the. Do you have the YMCA?
I'm about to say the wives.
The YMCA. Yeah, track that down. So yeah, it starts at home, and I think we need a white studies department curated by me.
Not a white studies department.
No, because whiteness in the United States should be tied with terrorism. Because in the minds of black people, and the minds of white people too, let's be honest, whiteness in the United States is tied with terrorism. It's tied with like an oppressive ideology. So when people say like, well, I should be proud to be white, not really. Because it's because it's got nothing to do with your pigment and more to do with like your guns and access to legitimate force. like whiteness isn't about pigment.
Willingness to use it.
And a willingness to use it against black people. Because without black people, you don't have white people the way we have white people. White people are created in the United States by the presence of black people and non-white people and people wanting to be white people. And I'm looking at no small number of immigrants when I say that. And in order to be white people, they have to show that like they're willing to treat black people like white people are taught to treat black people. So, So when I say that the damage starts at home, I mean this. This is a kids camp.
And this was, I believe, the original date for this. This is in the 50s.
Oh, the year my mom was born, 46.
46.
Oh, but the year my mom was born, she's still alive, which means, what do you think the chance of that guy who's with the baseball in his hand is still alive, with property? I want his inheritance.
He's probably a senator.
Yeah, look. This is the picture they put in. So this is like we're bragging.
That was promotional.
Like this is promotional. This isn't just like we had to find it. This is just like we just do this too. So what does that mean? How do you make it whole? And how do you get rid of, how do we make this situation whole? And it's not by being scared. It's not by being scared of publicity. And so, I need enough money to find an institute that will study this and come out with, Moynihan reports, except, instead of the Negro family and the case for national action, it'll be the white family, the white church, and the case for national action. Because we need a national project to make a lot of people are confused. The person who wrote that tweet against me got paid a lot of money to do that. So this is a functional adult who thought he was good at his job or she was good at her job who did that. And we need to make a better quality of adults. And
all that person did was make someone in the EEO office very upset Monday morning.
Well, I don't think they realized there was a problem. I really, that had to go through so many lawyers before it came out. That was a very busy Saturday and Sunday before that tweet comes out. That tweet just doesn't come from marketing. That comes from a lot of people checking. And
were they all drinking bourbon?
No, they were just assuming they were dealing with. They were just assuming they were dealing with another Negro who's not going to do anything about it. They're like they had big money on one side and me on the other. What's up? Yeah, that tweet. The tweet came from a place of emotion. Their wallet hurt. That tweet came from a place of emotion. That's how you end up in a shallow grave, just letting that slide. And I'm not gonna let that slide. You came out with an official statement against me. Do you know how much harder that makes my job? You're gonna know how much harder that makes that job.
They wrote that tweet while looking at your Halloween costume.
My Halloween costume had a picture of, I have a sweatshirt that says uppity Negro. They forgot. No, I'm going to sue them like a white person. Like they're screwing up my life. And I'm going to do it in a way that helps them. So you're welcome. And Make it out the cash. Make it out the cash. Because we're going to talk about what the kind of money it takes for institutional reform that not only deals with my scholarship, but the reception of my scholarship. So I'm going to change the water, and you're going to help me. You're going to fund the sea change. You're welcome. And with that, I'll see you next week. Peace.